Welcome to another episode of Techtalk-With-AFO. Today is special. I have my buddies in the house, my buddies in the building, Ife and Kester. Guys, show some love, show some love. A round of applause for my guys. A round of applause. On Techtalk-With-AFO, you guys know what we are all about. We have conversation around everything around technology. You, of course, also know some other programs that is very dear to our heart. On Techtalk-With-AFO, everything that would promote technology to ensure Nigeria also have a seat on the table of technology globally. Today, we're having something very interesting, and I'm sure my guys are excited about it. Kester and Ife, can you guys, get involved? What are we here to discuss today?
Yeah, it's another week. We Techtalk-With-AFO. Like we always do, we discuss technology, talk about the trending news in technology, and I'm happy to fight with Kester now, to punch Kester on some thoughts, you know.
Don't punch Kester physically. You know, engage Kester intellectually. Kester, Ife wants to punch you intellectually. What's your response to Ife? Ife says he wants to punch you.
I welcome all punches. I welcome all
intellectually.
Punches with punches in return.
All right, guys, on a serious note, we want to have a conversation around something that was dropped in the last couple of weeks. An improvement to AI, or should I call it an improvement or an advancement to AI? They call it Devin. For me, it's a mixed feeling. Mixed feeling in the sense that, wait a minute, are you trying to say that, you know, tech my tech actors will be out of jobs? That's my concern. So we want to talk about Devin. Devin is this AI based software engineer. Devin can take a brief from you. Devin has actually competed for job on Upworks, possibly on Fiverr, bidded for jobs, got the jobs, and got the job done as Devin. Okay, so if you have an AI that can actually deliver software solution end to end by itself, you know, for me, that is an interesting conversation. And I'm sure we all can see from different angles. But before we go too deep into what this conversation is, Ife, can you share that video just to set the tone for our conversation today?
Hey, I'm Scott from Cognition AI, and today I'm really excited to introduce you to Devin, the first AI software engineer. Let me show you an example of Devin in action. I'm going to ask Devin to benchmark the performance of Llama on a couple different API providers. From now on, Devin is in the driver's seat. First, Devin makes a step-by-step plan of how to tackle the problem. After that, it builds the whole project using all the same tools that a human software engineer would use. Devin has its own command line, its own code editor, and even its own browser. In this case, Devin decides to use the browser to pull up API documentation so that it can read up and learn how to plug into each of these APIs. Here, Devin runs into an unexpected error. Devin actually decides to add a debugging print statement, reruns the code with the debugging print statement, and then uses the error in the logs to figure out how to fix the bug. Finally, Devin decides to build and deploy a website with full styling as the visualization. You can see the website here. All of this is possible today because of the advancements that we've made in both reasoning and long-term planning. It's a really hard problem, and we've only just started, but we're super excited about the progress that we've made so far. In the meantime, if you'd like to try out Devin on your own real-world tasks, send us a request below, and we'd be happy to forward it to Devin.
Wow, guys.
Wow.
Ife, are you going to go first on this? Because this is awesome. Like, it is something else.
Yeah, it is.
Ife, what's your first take on this?
It is definitely mind blowing. Like, when it first came out, I was like, wow, in 4 or 5 years, this is going to wipe out. It is going to wipe out software developers. Like, but one striking thing I saw again was that on cognition sites, they are still looking for software engineers. So for software engineers that are actually scared, they should just see this as an opportunity to make work easier for them. One particular thing actually strikes me on Devin, and it's I'm trying to wrap my head around how they actually how that Scott who is actually the creator of Devin, how he actually worked around it. You know, this Devin can actually go into a browser, read up documentation, then apply what it has read to solve problems. That is actually mind blowing. Like, it is just like the way developers work, right? You go on websites, you go on dev docs, look for some API documentations, read on how you can plug it in when you are like developing your software, and see how you can go about it. Like, it is so mind blowing that you can actually see an AI look up for documentations on the browser and actually apply it to software development. Like, this is so mind blowing.
Kester, I want you to jump in here, right? But before you jump in, because to be honest with you, I to a large extent disagree with Ife that this is not necessarily threatening software engineers, right? But I just want you to, at least reflect back on some of the things that happened between 2022 and 2023. Facebook laid off, Microsoft laid off, Twitter laid off, and we're talking about thousands of software engineers that are jobless today. For obvious reasons, these tech companies obviously have seen some things in the making. They've seen something in the making before they took their decision on laying off engineers, even ahead of the arrival of the likes of Devin. The rate at which AI is taking people's job now is something else. Kester.
Thank you, Afo. Watching that video, the first thing that really caught my eyes, which happens to be one of the last things that was in display on the video, was that bar chart. They had a chart of the way this AI tools solve, if you can take it to that part, the way this AI tools solve problem, and you can see GPT 3.5 at the very least of that table, of that chart, right? This is what most creators rely on. This is where they go to come up with, yes, GPT 3.5. Even the GPT 4 that is paid, and imagine, see where we have Devin all the way up there. So everything we've watched, everything we've seen on this video is clear that
so you can look at what they said. Devin and GPT-4 are evaluated on a random 25% subset. Devin results are unassisted, whereas all other models results are assisted.
Yes,
the model is told exactly which file needs to be edited.
So now taking it back to the question, right, which is how this really is it really taking jobs? Is it really taking software developers' jobs and all? The answer to that question, well, there isn't really a straight answer. The only answer I could possibly give to that, with as far as I know, right, is that whoever would sit and say, oh, these and things like this would take my job as a software engineer, I personally will not regard that as a forward-thinking tech solutionist, right? Because for that kind of person, this is he said something fair, that it doesn't necessarily take away your job as a software engineer, and that is very true, right? Because the direction we see these things going is just for us to move with the flow. This is what I believe. This is what I think. The guys that have this, that came up with this, right? They have listings for software engineers in their company. They are looking for software engineers to hire. So what kind of software engineers are they going to end up hiring? we are talking about the ones that are going to quickly adapt to applying these AI tools, right? Because they are tools at the end of the day. So those are the people that will end up growing to become more relevant in that space.
So looking at Devin and his capabilities, right? Can you just, as quickly as you can, explain how it works? Like, yeah, we all understand it's artificial intelligence, but how does it work?
All right, so I think what Scott actually had in mind was to create something like an AI body. You know, we since the creation of ChatGPT 4, 3.5, I know that there have been some interactions, like the way you can relate with GPT-4 and 3.5, but it is not as realistic as if you are relating with Devin on what to do. So you can see in the video that what he did was just to pass on instructions to Devin, and Devin did all the justice. And it is not like Devin is perfect. There are some errors that there are some key, like software development, software engineering projects that I know Devin cannot handle right now. I know, but Devin can serve like a junior software engineers. So right now we know from the advent of software engineering, we had a lot of companies like hiring junior software engineers just to do some certain mundane tasks, because like every other job, there are some tasks in software development that are actually mundane. They are quite repetitive, right? And rather than employing junior software engineers to do that, you can actually have an AI body that you can actually pass on these instructions to, and we just go online, search, and do all these things. So that is the intention right from the onset. But with the amount of data sets that we have now, I think in few years to come, Devin would actually do a lot more. And you know, the push will now be, we have GPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini. So there's going to be, and I actually love it because I think AI should be democratized. I actually love it. There have to be like this sort of democracy when it comes to handling AI. We can't just have one particular organization being the one to have the sole ownership and the sole idea on how to implement AI. There has to be this competition to make everything.
Kester,
really, yeah.
If I hold your thoughts, Kester, talking about democratizing AI, or opening up the market of AI, even to bringing in more competition, which is the angle Ife is coming from, right? I want you to look at the ethical and social consideration of this. So you have the advent of Devin, what it has the capability of doing, and the efficacy of AI and what you can achieve to it now. From an ethical standpoint, what should be the concern?
Honestly, for anyone who has been following this whole AI trend, where things are going, it's quite clear what it is, right? The truth is, in as much as we are having more people, right, we're having these various companies coming up with their own AI solution, their own AI tools, there needs to be a serious and Afo, you always say this, and this is something that just has to be a strong regulation around this, because the moment we leave this thing up to be like every other, oh, I want to start an e-commerce website to grow an e-commerce business, creating AI tools then becomes like that. There are many people right now currently that have ideas, right? The moment they get their hands in the right resources, right? There's a lot of possibilities down this path. So there ought to be a very strong regulation for the government to manage this entire thing, because yes, I always come from this angle. We want things to move in this direction. We are happy about the changes, but there is a darker side to this, right? There is really a darker side to this, especially if the pace of this is not really controlled. Things would spiral to a point where human worth, right, might become really something, or the only way we would find real. Let me leave some aspect of this that because
Yes.
I don't want to get
Okay,
into
okay.
that.
So,
part.
Kesa,
Can I say something?
if before you jump in, if I want you to bring it to Africa, right? I want you to speak to aspiring software engineers. Okay. If you remember 2 weeks ago, I mean, I was coming from the argument because there was a particular narrative, right? That gone are the days that you have to get your kids to learn coding, right? You don't need people to be to go into software engineering anymore, right? You know, so for aspiring software engineers, you know, people that are, you know, still in the process of getting to learn Java, they want to be better at you know, all these different languages. What should be the approach? And I really want you to speak to Africa, especially because we're talking about technology now, and I don't want us to be missing out of action.
Yeah, so for I think I would like to first speak to Kester. So what Kester?
Okay, go ahead.
Let me speak to that first. I think you don't have to be concerned with the regulation of usage when it comes to use. You don't have to be concerned when it comes to the regulation of AI usage, but you have to be concerned when it comes to the regulation of AI development. For those that are developing AI, it has to be regulated. That was why I talked about
That's what
having a democratizing it. That was why I talked about it.
Yes, that is
Then,
exactly
but
what
regulation of usage. I think a lot of people we want to use it.
I disagree with the two of you, but if you go ahead, and
yeah,
I'll
you want to. So let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. I would say we generally. Let me just go into my my nihilistic mode. We are generally, as human race, ever since the advent of AI, we are actually moving towards destruction, and this destruction is not something any of us can stop. We are humans, and our purpose in life is actually to shape the world till we self-destruct. That's just my own thought. We are not going to stop this development. It's going to keep moving. There's going to be a time where AI is going to become sentient. Last week, I think me and Afo, we had an argument on AGI. We'll talk about that later. AI is becoming sentient, right? There will be a point where AI will do things that they will start having their own goals aside humans intervention, and there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to accept it, and we have to be happy that we are in this world to experience that thing.
If before you answer my main question, really, because again, remember we have different people we are trying to mentor into the space of technology for them to also have we really need to get more people in tech in Africa, in Nigeria. That makes a lot of sense, right? Particularly if technology will be driving development. Okay, but if before you speak to that, on this issue of usage, technology and AI usage and regulation, right? If we are not careful, if regulation, if we're also looking at regulation as it relates to usage, it becomes an issue of creating lazy humans.
No matter the regulation, it's still going to look at what we have now. We have hackers, we have white hackers, we have dark hackers. No matter how much you want to regulate, we'll still have some people that will just back channel and try to use it for whatever purpose.
How do you want to balance testing humans for intellectual capability? How do you want to, really get people to develop skills?
Yeah,
do you understand? If AI can be used to execute what you need to test people for, am I making sense? So my point is, you want to look at usage in the context of education. You want to look at usage in the context of, for example, now hacking. Okay, you want to look at usage in the context of terrorism. These are also usage. Am I making sense? My
I
excellent.
I think
where
education.
where I'm coming from, if I hold on first, let me just put out where I'm actually coming, because you said something that gave me the impression that you probably understand, or maybe I even spoke in a, for me, right? I don't think we, like humans, we as individuals, we can or we should even worry about regulating our usage, because there really is no control for
Exactly.
that. Where it has to come from is the product, is the development.
Yeah, that's why I said regulation as regards
the reason why I think so is because we evolve. I watched a very funny, let me just share this very short and brief story. I watched a very funny and kind of dark animation, right? And they were talking about email, like email address, the way you send email via laptop. And the guy, he had a dream to be a mailman. He wanted to be a mailman to deliver, hard copy mails and stuff to people, right? But he was very angry about the new technology, email, right? Like, why would this come and all? And his friend they were busy mocking it and laughing about how there is no, when a person receives an email, there is no emotional connection as to when they receive a hard copy. They seriously laughed at it, like it couldn't possibly hold. But today, we find our emotional connection in email. Like, you receive an email from a loved one, you feel so this it becomes like, that's how we are as humans, we adapt. So at that level, what I believe, at that level, it is mostly the people that would gear towards to being the most optimized, right, would be those that would understand that they need to go with the flow. They need to apply these things in whatever it is they are doing, right? That's where it comes from, the usage. But then
you guys, you still haven't answered.
Let me answer your question.
Hold on. Let me just quickly say this so that you can answer my question. Do we have African players already in AI development, right? If we don't, what do we need to do as Africans, right, to really also be on top of this game? The future we are looking at is the future of AIO. If you want to control anything, you have to be right up there.
Right.
If you are not on the table, if we are where you're on the menu.
Yeah, I think it's going to for Africans. I think we have a lot of players as compared to. Okay, let us compare when our computer system was developed. Then there was no African interplay. Even the Africans that were actually involved, they were based in other parts of the world, not mainly in Africa, right? So, but right now we actually have a lot of collaborations with these other countries, with China, with Europe, right? They are bringing this. They are outsourcing. There's this developers outsourcing from Africa to the other parts of the world, and I think we should just accept our role as the helping hand for these people, because they actually have the foundational understanding, and they know how to go about the push. So what we as African are going to be doing is to see how we can actually serve as the helping hand for these people. Like, look at Scott. Scott would, in his team, would probably have like Africans, Nigerians, would have Kenyans, and he's going to have a lot of team members that are African.
I think that's quite
right.
Sorry to come in. I think that's quite limiting, right, of the potential from Africa, right? I mean, it's not news that anywhere you go in the world, right, and you hear about Nigerians over there that are mostly doing well, at least as far as I have heard and seen. They're mostly doing very well, and they are always praised to being the smartest set of people and all that. I think if we had, I mean, this is not even a talk of what we can get or what we could get from the government or whatever, right? I think if we had a much better system in place we could as well have very
exactly
good
what I'm saying, that we are not there yet.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, where I'm coming from is like, for people, there are people today, as you and I are speaking, from these parts of the world, even worse parts in this country, in Lagos, for example, that still have their ideas and they still have their burning spirits, right, to create something. But then again, all of these are just talk. But I would just like for people to understand that as far as it's something we still, have in front of us to do, I think we should go for it, and not to, say, oh, I would only be as a support.
No. I think you should get my context, right? If you check, if you look at these people, there's access to resources. They have this freedom that allows them actually explore. You can't compare a kid in America to a kid here in Nigeria. Like, true. An average kid here in Nigeria is concerned about how he's going to eat and how he's going to go to school to learn things, right? Average kid in US, an average kid in US is actually building robotic systems. Like, if you go to US high schools, they are actually building, like, they are doing things that are way more advanced than what we are actually doing here. So I think it boils down to what I would say resources actually.
I think both of you agree on something, which of course is already Africa is we're doing things around it. We have players in the game, right? We have quite a number of our engineers, engineers even working locally, supporting and competing internationally. No doubt about that. Okay, but I think what we really need to emphasize, and I guess both of you would agree with me on this, is we have to be intentional about this. We have to even be more deliberate. I mean, for example, now, are you going to compare, the size of the chunk that India is taking today compared to what Africa is taking? The size of the chunk of technology. Like, it also started the way we started in Africa, right? Our guys are we have a lot of software engineers now at different level, middle level, senior level, and they are going up the ladder. Globally today, India is almost everywhere, right? The CEO of Google is who? An Indian.
He's an Indian.
An Indian. The CEO of YouTube is also an Indian. And I was telling someone, I said, guess what? Indian, the way they work, the minute they get into a system, they have this crowding system. They are deliberate about getting their people in. But we in Africans, okay, I know Python. Why should I introduce Ife to Python? You understand the way we are. So that mindset has to change. We need to have policy to drive it, and we have to be deliberate, like intentional. Silicon Valley is dominated by Indians now. Now see some of the partnerships that is happening. Indian is going to be setting up, I think it's Apple. Apple is planning to situate their next factory where? In India. And you know why? It's because of human resources that is abundant in India already. Kester, this did not happen.
Resources.
It did not happen overnight, right? So as a country, we also have to be intentional about it. Individually, we also need to get involved. And that takes us back to what we are doing, right? In our own little way. You know how many Indians became what they had today because they have an opportunity of getting a used laptop that gave them access to what guys in California, if those guys that you are referring to, the Indians competed with next to nothing. So if I don't buy this excuse that, okay, the challenges we are facing in Africa is why we can't compete. We are not different from India.
Yeah, I think we are not conscious enough in
Maybe that's the issue.
Because like
Kester,
if you look at India, India built their model. India built their models around technology, around engineering and technology, right? They built their model around STEM, and application of visa to US and other parts of the world is easier for Indians because other parts of the world, they know that humans are resources, and they know that Indians have those resources that they actually want, right? But for countries in Africa, I'm glad that right now that we have a lot of countries outside the world that are ready to accept some Africans for like software development job and all those things, because we are now like they are seeing us now that like, okay, we can get resources from these countries. So I think as Africans, we have to be aware of STEM, and we have to really put our focus
in security.
in technology and
in security,
engineering.
we call it brute force. Brute force.
we have to we have to be
push
we have to
push more people into tech. Yes, sir, you are too silent for my liking.
Tech is like
Devin,
a language.
are you afraid of Devin or what?
Tech is like a language. Kester would like to share something.
No, it's just for everything you've been saying that I've been hearing on this call. One thing just keeps going through my mind, and it's just there in front of me, and I just feel like, well, let me just. So basically, how I see this is how we choose to control our point of view, our POV, right? A lot of people have been sold this reality that you have said, Ife, Nigeria, the economy, it's a reality. I'm in Nigeria, so I know, I live it, right? But then again, it then comes to the individual and how they would choose to control that point of view. For me, a long time ago, I decided my own dominant point of view is not going to be about what has limited me, right? I'm going to, regardless, so in some part of the world, you see that they invest in orientation, individual orientation on their citizen, right? If you see an American somewhere, they're always proud. I'm an American. There's always this pride with that. I'm an American.
I'm a Nigerian too, bro.
Yes, but there is truth to what I'm saying, right? And this doesn't just come out of nowhere. It comes out from their upbringing and all that. So a lot of what you've said is actually correct. We need to be actively involved in orientating our people, right, from the grass. So they would work with the right mindset. Whatever reality we have, right, we actually still have control of what we can do. And a person let me ask a question. I always play with this question with my friends. So let me just throw this question here. For a baby that is born today, right, they give birth to this child today, brand new, at somewhere in Lagos, maybe Ikotun or somewhere, right? And in this context, the world is currently progressing in terms of technology. Ife, let me direct this question to you. Do you see a possibility where this child that is born today would grow to become a multi-billionaire, born today somewhere around Ikotun, right, with harsh conditions? Do you see a possibility where age 30, age 25, or how many percent chance do you think this child has of getting to that level, considering the way tech is going, the advancement of tech? That's just a rough question, but I would like to.
Are you sure you didn't take this from my playbook?
Okay, let me answer. So I always talk about this thing like education in its actual sense is going to be different in years to come. The way we are looking at education right now is going to change in years to come. Like, take for example, a few years back, let's say in the 90s, right, you would have to teach a kid on how to use a system, on how to use a mobile phone. I can tell you that my nephew, no one sat my nephew down on how to use phone. My nephew can go to YouTube, my nephew can browse things. So you can see the developments when it comes to like as regards environmental awareness and technological awareness. I think for kids, the technological awareness is there. And talking about you saying a kid in Ikotun, I think right now technology is going to allow kids from every part of the world to have that access. So this is the reason why I would say it. Let's forget about the money. Let's forget about money and all those things. for a kid in Ikorodu, for a
Don't
kid.
forget about money.
Wait, calm down. Wait, calm down. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about technology in, let's say, 10 years, right? You now have a kid in Ikorodu in 10 years. There is going to be a lot of technological advancements, and we now have tools that can make you think, right? Although people are saying AI tools will not make you think. No, I actually agree with that.
Fair. The answer to Kester's question is what I started with: brute force, brute force, brute force, brute force. And you know why? There's no way you want to see it. Think about it. No matter how open the internet is, no matter how liberal or democratized information is today, look at all the invention we're talking about. It already shows the imbalance. The guys, and that's why I said Kester took it from my playbook. The guys in Ikotun is still at a disadvantage compared to the guys in California. There's nothing you can do about it.
Of course.
No two ways about it, right? But brute force, brute force, brute force is what Indian has used to get his own guys to where? To California. You understand? I mean, if universities in India at some point were so you can't tell anybody you're going to school in India.
They were only civil engineering focused because it was that terrible.
No, it wasn't even just about, I'm saying the quality of the education. It wasn't different from the quality that you were getting in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But the can-do spirit was what was driving it, pumping and pushing people. They kept pushing with the resources they have on to the extent that they also have mass number of people studying in all schools in US. Same for Chinese, right? Get people to go and compete anywhere in the world. Don't just say, okay, I mean, for us to compete in the world, we want to now limit ourselves to China. The founder of Alibaba, he didn't start his e-commerce business in China, right? He got trained where? In US. You understand what I'm saying? So that brute force concept compulsorily must happen. And the good part is, in our own little way, we're also doing something about it. I'd like to appreciate Kester, on today's episode. In our little way, we're doing something about it, right? Overland, with what you guys are doing, I'm part of that community. If you need to see the engagement, right? Plus or minus, we have how many students in that group competing with ideas, right? So just over 300. Just imagine, Kester, just imagine if you're also another bloody mediocre, right? That you get yourself fixated with Nigerian problem. Will you be making that making a difference in your own little way, the way you are? So it takes us back to what? Brute force. We need to create more tech actors. Ife, you're another amazing guy, right? Look at where you're coming from. I don't want to share how terrible your story was on air. Similar to my own terrible story too. Where you're coming from, where I'm coming from, and you look at what you do now. If we already agreed that we throw banter, so stop feeling bad about me exposing that you have very, very, very ugly looking beginning. Very ugly looking humble beginning. Now everybody will see you on LinkedIn celebrating your achievements. Nonsense. Anyways, what's the point I'm making? In our own little way, we have to make an effort to develop people. See what we are doing with Tech-Quest. We've been to schools that kids they don't even have computers, right?
Yeah.
They don't have how can you be teaching IT, teaching computer education, and you don't even have a computer you're working with? You understand what I'm saying? I was cracking a joke a couple of days with some guys that I'm trying to get computers from. I said, what you refer to as end of life in US is the beginning of life for us in Nigeria. Please give those computers to me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
In our own little way. Tech-Quest, IT Launchpad, brute force.
And I think it's actually very good to have these initiatives. Like there has to be awareness. I still feel like a lot of people don't know like how powerful tech is going to become. I used to see tech. I'm seeing tech as coding and learning a new coding language. I'm seeing it as a new language entirely. Like just like the way we speak English, the way we speak Spanish, and all those things. Like I'm seeing tech And I think everybody should know like at least one coding language. Everybody, because that's where we are.
Jason Ong of is it of Nvidia or
Nvidia?
Is it Nvidia? What's the name of that his company again?
Nvidia.
Jason Ong of Nvidia, right? Honestly disagrees with you, right? He said we should forget about teaching coding. That we don't need to teach.
You know, that is where we are moving to.
Yes, sir.
That's where we are moving to.
You see what happens, right? The same way they are asking Africans to move away from fossil fuel and all of that. Jason Ong is saying that, I mean, you don't need to sense.
I think I have that video.
And you'll assemble a whole bunch of chatbots, and that's the way software is going to be built someday. How do we build software in the future? It is unlikely that you'll write it from scratch or write a whole bunch of Python code or anything like that. It is very likely that you assemble a team of AIs. There's probably going to be a super AI that you use that takes the mission that you give it and breaks it down into an execution plan. Some of that execution plan could be handed off to another NIM. That NIM would maybe understand SAP. The language of SAP is ABAP. It might understand ServiceNow. And it go retrieve some information from their platforms. It might then hand that result to another NIM who goes off and does some calculation on it. Maybe it's an optimization software, a combinatorial optimization algorithm. Maybe it's just some basic calculator. Maybe it's pandas to do some numerical analysis on it. And then it comes back with its answer, and it gets combined with everybody else's, and because it's been presented with this is what the right answer should look like, it knows what right answers to produce, and it presents it to you. We can get a report every single day at top of the hour that has something to do with a build plan or some forecast or some customer alert or some bugs database or whatever it happens to be.
People should not learn coding again.
Everybody.
Kester, agree? No, he said coding should not be taught in school again. Like we should focus on other important skill sets.
I don't agree to that.
Medicine and all of that.
I feel we may not have got, if that could be a place we get to, I feel we've not gotten there yet. For now, it's still advantageous to have it as a skill. To have one language at least as a skill is advantageous.
Guys, I want both of you to hold your thought to the next segment of Tech Talk with AFO. We're taking the conversation to another level. It is still in the space of AI. Again, can you please tell our guys that if you want to have any important conversation about technology, where should you be?
Tech Talk with AFO.
Oh, Tech Talk. They should what?
AFO, we should have a song for Tech Talk with AFO.
Something like that.
I will go, trust me, that's another
studio.
And I will enter studio because of Tech Talk with AFO. I will enter studio because of Tech Talk with AFO. Anyways, guys, on a serious note, we are on a mission to get more people in tech. We want to have this culture of more tech actors, right? And to name and shame tech zombies. What we have with Devin today, see that intelligent tech actor. Maybe that guy should even be my tech actor of the week.
Look at that guy. I think you should just look at him. Just look at that guy.
Stay tuned to Tech Talk with AFO. Follow us on all medium. Share our content. Subscribe to our channel. We discuss everything around technology, and please support all our programs. TechQuest, IT Launchpad. As a matter of fact, we're taking TechQuest to church next week, right?
Yeah, to church.
That's going to be fun. All right.
Try to engage with our posts. You might stand a chance to win a laptop because we are.
Yes. So we have 10 amazing winners. Interesting guys. They are getting our laptops next week. For next month, we are focusing on secondary school, right? Yeah. And we are giving Chromebooks. 5 Chromebooks, secondary schools, right?
Yeah.
Kester, that's what we're doing. Yeah, right? We're really committed to this. Yes or no?
100%.
I really wish we should bring Palumi to the next edition. That guy, It's such a pain in Kester's neck. Anyway.
In the next edition. He needs to be.
All right, guys.
He needs to be in the next edition.
All right. Thank you. See you guys on the next episode of Tech Talk with AFO.